Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Should we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today? Back from a little bit of a Christmas break. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, or whatever holiday you may have celebrated in. Kwanzaa's around this time, right? I'm not sure about other things, or even if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you just had a nice time in general. I suppose that sort of thing kind of blanketly applies to every single day, but understandably, I suppose you can see why I specified these days out in particular. But yeah, if you can ask how my Christmas was, it was lovely. But of course, we'll get to Isabel first. Hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhollow, it's 5:43 PM on Tuesday, December 28, 2021. I have an event announcement to share today. On New Year's Eve, we'll be saying goodbye to 2021 and greeting the new year with a big countdown. We're going all out with fireworks and more, so please come to the plaza to ring in the new year. I'll go back to your work supporting you in your journey of the island. I'm as of yet undecided exactly what I'm going to do on New Year's Eve, but I might record just like a video in the morning and I'll time travel in the morning, pretend it's happening actually at New Year's Day. So yeah, let's see what I've been missing out on in the past few days of Animal Crossing. I haven't actually played at all in these last few days. We will have a visitor. Hey dear, yes, we've seen this letter before. Sorry Phoebe, chucking it away. Throw it away, forget yesterday. Actually, to be fair, I'm not sure if we had it from Phoebe, so maybe I should have kept it. But, oh well. Yeah, had a really nice, I was going to say Animal Crossing break. Oh, hello, Flick, you are a visitor. Had a real nice, break. So this is a countdown thing, ends on New Year's Eve. We don't need any of that stuff, so we're just going to ignore it and we'll just go about our usual business. Yeah, had a nice Christmas and Boxing Day because, of course, still there's the pandemic going on, but, according to UK legislation and that sort of things, you can have small gatherings. So we had small gatherings with everyone, making sure to do a lateral flow test beforehand and all that sort of good thing. So, on Christmas Day, went round to a family friend's house and we had a very nice meal. And on Boxing Day itself, two families, very small families, mind you, four and three people each, came around to our house, and we had a very nice celebration with that. So yeah, that's just kind of what Christmas is. Even if you aren't someone who necessarily celebrates the holiday, always a nice excuse to have good food, I suppose is what I'd say. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say to that one. Much to say on that regard. I mean, like, it was just a pleasant time, I suppose. Hopefully you all could have a pleasant time, and if you didn't, I apologise. I mean, I suppose it's not like I'm taking responsibility. I didn't really cause whatever happened, but just more like I sympathise. It's a shame that something like that would have to happen, but hopefully you can find time, whether it be somewhere now or somewhere in the future, to be able to have your own nice time as well. I don't know, because of course New Year's coming up soon. I don't know if you'll do anything particularly for that, but I have no current intentions to. I suppose Christmas is more of a time for merriment and gathering and getting people together to be happy, I suppose, to be merry, rather than New Year's necessarily. New Year's feels more like a celebration, but a celebration I can do without, I suppose, in particular. I suppose this week I talk about Christmas presents. I don't really have much to say in regards to Christmas presents, I suppose. I've got some nice ones from my sister, some nice clothing and some makeup stuff, which was quite lovely. Got some chocolates from some family friends, which, I say before, not much of a sweet tooth, but I do appreciate the sentiment after all. I mean, even though I don't have much of a sweet tooth, doesn't mean I don't like eating a chocolate every now and then. I'll be perfectly honest. And yeah, it was just a very sort of lovely time because, it's been a long while since been able to see some people outside of family and some select friends, I suppose, depending on how gatherings have come and gone. But yeah, it was rather uneventful in a good way, I suppose. So yeah, and if you've got any interesting Christmas stories, do tell me how your Christmas or holiday season has come and gone. Hopefully all good things. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose it's where I really talk about like Christmas stories, but I don't really have any Christmas stories. Again, if you want more Christmas stories, I would recommend you hop onto last year's videos, where I probably had way more Christmas stories back then, which I talked about. Okay, what about relevant things from this year that I could really expand upon? I don't know, I baked a cake, I suppose. I baked a black forest cake, a black forest gâteau. And if you don't really know what that is, but you're a gamer, it's the cake from Portal. How was it? Apparently it tasted pretty good. My own thing was that I tend to be more critical, I suppose, of myself, when I, after I made it for my own things, I'm like, it's alright, it could have certainly been better. As I learned, black forest cake doesn't actually have like any what have I called, right, like rising agents. I'm not an expert baker, mind you. Like some of my friends and my family might try and tell you, I mean, if you were to ask them specifically about that sort of thing, about them, like an expert baker. I'm not an expert baker. I just follow recipes, okay? I just happen to be good, I suppose, at following instructions quite exactly. Or I take careful consideration of that sort of thing. I don't tend to deviate because I'm like, I don't know any better. I'm just going to follow that. But, you know, I make some pretty good brownies, I suppose. But black forest cake has doesn't have like any leavening agents, like erasing agents. Like it doesn't have any baking powder or baking soda. The dough, the cake batter itself is just made from beating up a huge amount of eggs. It was like 9 eggs. But to be fair, cakes often require quite a lot of eggs. But in this particular recipe, I took, well, it was actually a recipe I took from about 3 different places, and I sort of combined the parts I wanted from each of them together. Took about like 9 eggs all beaten up, and it was meant to get super fluffy, and I meant to slowly add sugar. I think I added the sugar a little bit too quickly because I didn't get quite as much air into the entire thing as I wanted, so that's something just for me to learn last time. I was a little bit too impatient with the sugar. I did beat it for a long time because, you know, I read that it's like it takes about 10 minutes to even like get to a certain stage of fluffiness, and I was meant to add like sugar, like a tablespoon at a time to try and be slow. I think I did just do too much of a tablespoon near the beginning. I tried and didn't do enough near the end. I should have definitely spread it out over a long time, so I didn't get quite as much rise as I wish I could have out of the cake, which led to my layers being quite flat and quite difficult to cut in half, so that's why it was a little bit like lumpy. Another thing I learned about it was I made, like, of course, the cherry syrup filling, which was honestly fine, I thought, but it was more of a factor out because I saw one of the guides I don't know why I would refer to it as a guide. The recipes is that you're meant to like fill it up quite near the center, because as soon as you put another one on top of another layer of cake on top of it, it's very likely to push and like seep out all the cherry syrup out to the outside. But of course, because the cakes kind of tend to dome a little bit, and I didn't want to cut off the top part to like flatten out the cake or anything, it ended up causing like quite a bit of a pile, I suppose, in the middle of the cake, which made it get a very rounded shape, because, you know, the cherries themselves of this cherry syrup are quite large. I've never got the illuminated reindeer recipe. Oh, thank you, Amelia. You know what? Let's farm some ornaments. I don't know if we actually need to. Let's farm some ornaments and catch some snowflakes today. I think that's what we particularly need to do after we go to Halves Island and see what Red's sending for us today. Yeah, so it ended up with quite like a round shape up top, which is not quite what I wanted, obviously, to happen. And it made the decorating kind of annoying. There was also black forest cake. Often has like chocolate shavings and flakes around the outside, but the chocolate I bought, well, used, I suppose, ended up being quite brittle. That meant that what you were meant to do. There's 2 different ways I saw it. One of them was the binging or babish way, I say, which is not to like obviously hate on binging or babish. It was more like, you know, I'm saying my own error, and I did not realise what potential like flaws could come up while I was doing it. Is that you put it on its back, and you get your knife and you run it down the back and shave it out, and basically make me sort of like chocolate shavings. That worked fine to begin with, but then I guess my chocolate was too brittle, maybe it was too thin along the seams, which resulted in me, when I was doing the shaving thing, to eventually just break it, and then I just had like this tiny piece of chocolate which I couldn't really get any shavings out of. So eventually I was like, oh, this is so much effort, I can't really do it like this. So what I just did instead, which was just like, okay, I'm just going to chop them really small instead, and basically have crumbs which I'll put on the outside instead of the chocolate flakes. I think the chocolate shavings and flakes would certainly look a lot better, and if I had the choice, I wouldn't have gone with that. I think maybe I should have grated the chocolate instead, or find out a different way to do chocolate shavings, which I didn't know of a different way, but I thought it would take more effort, so I didn't exactly stick with that. So I didn't go with it, but I definitely should have, because it would have looked a lot nicer. It looked a little bit messy and clumsy at the end. I did overmix the cream, I suppose, on the outside, but that's not really that big a deal, I suppose, in the end. And I made a bit too much ganache, because it's meant to be what was meant to happen. It was I can't remember the website I got recipes. It was called like, it's not like hold on, it's like on the slab or something like that. No, that doesn't sound right. It's something to do with S and an A. Sorry, vowel sound in the middle, so I had to cough a bit. But basically they had this thing where you get like some whipped cream or whatever, and then you make like these. You pipe these nice little sort of spirals, these like meringue, and I forget what they're called, meringue sort of shapes on the top, and then that together make a little pool, and you can pour like a thin layer of ganache in the middle instead of doing cherry syrup on top, just so you can have something different on top. And I was like, oh, that sounds really fun. But the combination of me having quite like a rounded top to the cake the fact I put a bit too much ganache on made the ganache not really stay in the centre, and then made quite a thick layer of ganache, which I was like, it was probably a bit too much. But luckily ganache is tasty, so it's not really that big an issue. But on the whole, people like the cake. They say, yeah, it was really good, which, you know, is really the important thing in the end. You know, as much as I tend to be quite critical about these sort of things, being like, okay, this is what I can do better, it's important to also remember, if people like what you did, that's kind of the most important thing in the end, where, regardless of whether you did it to perfection or not. Who really cares in that end if your overall goal was to just, you know, make people happy. I also made some cookies. Cookies were great. That's about what I can say about that. But, you know, I've also made with cookies like quite a few times before, so it's probably not too big of a surprise that I could make them quite well at this point. But that was the first time I made a black forest cake, and it's not. I can't think of many cakes I've made, or any other cakes I made, where I didn't have like a sort of raising agent in the cake itself. Which was quite interesting, I suppose. I'm almost certain I've made another cake before with that sort of thing, but this is one where it's actually, you know, I didn't realise quite how much air I needed in the cake. But yeah, I made that black forest gâteau. I didn't eat much on that day itself because I was actually feeling a little bit nauseous. So I didn't have much of cake. I only had a small bite, and I was like, oh, you know, it's pretty good. It's because the majority of the cake is actually dark chocolate, so it's not actually an overwhelmingly sweet cake. Most of the sweetness actually comes in the cherry syrup, I suppose, that you make with cake, which is just like what I did personally has got some like tinned pitted cherries in a simple syrup. Hold on, let's see just what Red's selling. This one looks fake, and I also believe this one's fake, but we're gonna buy it anyway because we just want to cycle them out. I believe the legitimate version of this one has far more people. Has like 3 or 4 people, I think, on the actual front part of it, at the bottom left. So yeah, what was I going to say about cake? It's pretty well. It did alright. I also like how we're not actually completely in front of Katrina properly, but she's still willing to give us a bit of a fortune telling. What was I talking about? Yeah, the cake was nice. Oh yeah, all the sweetness in the syrup. You know, you get some pitted cherries and simple syrup. You drain the cherries. You reserve a little bit of syrup, and then I would say I would reserve a bit too much syrup. And then you just basically boil or cook the cherries in the syrup and over a stove. Add a little bit of corn flour and some sugar. Mix it together, and then you bring it off a heat. Once that's done, you add a little bit of vanilla extract, and it'll be quite nice. Like money will improve. All right, fair enough. And yeah, it was pretty tasty. But all the sweetness, I remember tried it after I made it. I was like, wow, this is so sweet. But it's actually balanced out by the fact that the cake itself is not actually all that sweet. And the whipped cream, at least I made personally for it, was not that sweet either. So it's a nice balance of, you know, like the richness of a dark nut chocolate, but not overwhelmingly sweet. And just like, I suppose, the sweetness of the cherry syrup. As I say, I'm not really an expert on these sort of things. I'm not taste deaf. I can taste the differences between things. It's just like, as I say before, tastes don't tend to remain in my memory all that much. Like I don't tend to remember all these like really memorable like tasting experiences and that sort of thing. I just sort of remember the general, my general impression of it at the time, the emotions more or less, rather than the actual flavour itself. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Try and make it. Obviously, I've got things to learn better for next time. If you're wondering why I'm not talking to Rowan, it's because it's likely he's going to ask to move out. And we're basically just waiting to see if Tank will ever ask to move out, or if he won't. If he doesn't, then so be it. That's just how it's going to be. We're going to go around catching some snowflakes. I think let's customise our net so it doesn't break. And yeah, that's basically what we're going to be doing. We're going to catch some snowflakes. We're going to maybe... No, I think didn't we harvest some ornaments? I think we actually farmed some ornaments near the start of the season. Because I remember when I was making stuff before, I ran out of snowflakes and I ran out of ornaments. I suppose we should also just see how many of these sort of things, how many large snowflakes we have, because we might, at least I personally might need to make some more large snowflakes for actually, because of snowboy stuff. I don't think I do, because I'm pretty sure I made a snowboy on every single day, like last year, or almost every single day last year when it first started snowing, so I probably had like 4 times the amount of days it was active for, so I probably have a huge amount of large snowflakes, which I don't need to really worry about. We certainly need to sell our inventory. I will also have a look to see if we got any bugs that we can give out to Flick. But first, let's look at our resources. We have far too many gyroids. I'm going to tell you that much right now. Yeah, so we have 36, and each recipe sometimes only calls for 1. I think we could certainly harvest some more gold ornaments, but otherwise, I think we're okay. So let me have a sip of water. Oh yeah, that was the thing I was going to say about chocolate shavings. The other way you can make your chocolate shavings was from a recipe from the company. No, I can at least like search it. I don't know. It was on YouTube. It was a black forest cake recipe I got from there. So let's see if I can find it. Black forest cake recipe. We'll see if I can forest the exact one it was. It was not any of these. It was not any of these. Lots of people have done recipes. I didn't look at all of these because I thought it was a bit much. Oh, the scran line, that was it. I knew it started with S, as 4 letters. S-C-R-A-N. That's 5 letters. So I was wrong on that regard, and they had an A sound in it. Scran line recipe. The way they did it was they melted the chocolate and then they like spread it on like this huge on a large baking sheet. I guess it kind of like sort of tempered it. They tempered it, and then once it was tempered, they got like I guess not necessarily tempered, because when it gets tempered, it makes it quite brittle. They just melted it and got it spread it out really thin, and then got a spoon to like scrape it. I should have definitely done the chocolate shavings like that. That would have been a lot easier than using a knife running it over the back, because just, you know, a large surface area. Even what I could have done is done the thing where they spread it on the melt the chocolate and spread it out on a large baking sheet, and then just got a knife and spread it over, just to have a faster way of doing a binging of average way. So, you know, it was not the neatest cake I've ever made, I suppose. Not the proudest I've ever made a cake, but it was fine. It's basically what I'd probably round it off as. But I think black forest cake is always a fun cake because, especially for me, you know, being a hashtag gamer. No, but it's a cake which appears in Portal, which is, of course, you know, the absolutely fantastic game. Will there ever be a Portal free? I don't know. I'm not going to put my money on it. I think if there ever is going to be a Portal free, it's going to be a Portal VR, and I don't own a VR set, so it's going to be quite difficult for me to particularly cover. But I'd be excited nonetheless to play it. But yeah, Portal's a fantastic game, so being able to make a black forest cake, even though it wasn't particularly good, I think it's a nice sort of tribute. And, you know, now next time if I ever need to recreate that cake from not black forest cake, from Portal, I have a reasonable idea of how to do it. And, you know, that's just kind of an iterative process, which not only baking, but anything really is, you know, baking, cooking, any sort of process is, just that you got to do it, and then you got to learn from your mistakes, and you know, you got to keep on trying. You got to keep on trying. What else? I watched a big fat quiz of the year, I suppose. It was alright this year. I would say that I hadn't really been keeping up with a lot of the news in big fat quiz of the year, so there's a lot of the answers I only had like vague ideas about, but I didn't really know the specifics of. So I didn't do particularly well. You know, I don't tend to do particularly well any year, I don't think. But hey ho, here we go. That's just kind of how it goes, I suppose. Yeah, is this snail glowing? What on earth? But yeah, Big Fat Quiz of the Year, if you don't know, is a UK sort of panel show, starring Jimmy Carr, that's his name, as a host, and you know, 3 teams of 2 who ever come on and just sort of answer questions about the most prominent news titles, I suppose, of each and every year. Which I was not that well versed on, but you know, that do just be how it be. I did forget to go check if we had any insects to give Flick, so we should probably do that. What else? Black forest cake, cookies. What sort of cookies were they? Just Nutella stuffed cookies. I can't remember where I even got a recipe from. Might have been one my sister found for me. I was like, "Can you make this?" And I was like, "Sure, of course I can." Like, as I say, baking is a science and cooking is an art, and you know. And it's not like I particularly see myself as more of a scientist rather than an artist. I see myself as sort of equal parts both. It's more just like, you know, if it's just like, hey, execute this recipe by following these steps exactly, I'm just like, sure, I can do exactly that. Okay, so we actually don't have any bugs to give you, it seems. Yeah, we only have 2 of all the other bugs. We didn't quite catch enough during the summer for these rare beetles. I'm not sure of what bugs we can even catch right now, which we haven't already made into a statue. I suppose we can do have a little look-see of that. New Horizons bug list. I suppose it's kind of nice to go back to sort of just like vibing out now. Animal Crossing, talking about whatever again. Okay, so let's see what we can catch in December. Common butterfly, almost certainly done. Paper kite, almost certainly. Hold on, we should start at the bottom of a December list and then go upwards, just so I know where to end and where to start. Tarantulas, we can do tarantulas. We'd have to find a tarantula. It's not late enough to currently find one. I feel like we might have a tarantula. No, we might only have two. I'm not sure. A spider, we could do a spider. I don't think we have a spider yet. We're slowly getting there with all the insects. I think a spider we could do. Centipede, I'm pretty sure we've done. Yeah, there's a centipede. Pillbug, I think we've done. Recently, snail we've done. Fly, we haven't done. Fly is also all year round, so that's not really much of an issue. I don't see the fly anywhere though, so I suppose we can do that. Warthroach, I think we've done a Warthroach. I'm not sure though. Oh yeah, that looks like it at the back there. Next to the dung beetle. Is that that looks like a Warthroach? Hermit crab. Ah, we could do that as well, but that requires being up quite, that requires recording quite late. Ants, bagworms, dung beetles, citrus longhorn beetle I think we've done. That seems familiar to me. Yeah, there it is, I can see it. Mole cricket, possibly, I don't think we've done. Damselfly, so we don't actually have many options, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm pretty sure we've done all these butterflies. None of them that we can really do right now, apart from mole cricket, but I can't bother to do that sort of thing. So, you know, I guess that's kind of it. We've kind of done all the easy options for a flick until it comes around to summertime again. We can start catching those beetles once more. But now we're just gonna run around. We're gonna try and catch as many snowflakes as we can, try and refill our stock, because there might be some of these winter sort of furniture items that we want to make. Yeah. I know we didn't have a white Christmas this year, didn't really snow. If anything, I kind of expect for snow to be much later in the year nowadays, around January, February time. Does tend to be pushed back further and further. I mean, we had a bit of snow around the winter sort of season, not much. It was all in the morning and it kind of melted by the time it came around at noon, but, you know, not to say it was necessarily a bad thing, of course. Yeah, so how was your Christmases? Or how were your holidays? Anything exciting happening? Nothing all that exciting happening over here, I suppose. I wonder what I'm going to title this video. I suppose Black Forest Cake. I'm not really sure. Hope you're taking advantage of the after Christmas sort of sales which are going on. We're just going to sort of ignore that down beetle. You can kind of do whatever. Never mind, we scared it away. I will certainly be trying to purchase some clothing items. Perhaps pick up something in the Steam sale. Not exactly sure what exactly yet, but I will decide at some point. Of course. Might do a bit of drawing, that sort of thing. I found some nice sort of like reference books, which I'm definitely excited to draw a little bit more from. I'm not sure about what else entirely. It's just sort of like, you know, it's just been a nice time all around. Come back here. Hey, yeah. I know, of course, it's been a rather difficult year for many people, and my heart I know it's not really saying much, but my heart goes out to you, I suppose, if you've had a difficult year and that sort of thing. But hopefully, at least maybe this year coming has something different in store, in a positive way, for each and every one of you. Life is full of its ups and downs, and I suppose it's just kind of how you're able to deal with these sort of situations in the end, which will end up defining you. You know, hope to be the person that comes out stronger at the end. Of course, this is sort of like wishy-washy, and I kind of hate giving up all this wishy-washy advice. All the advice should be specifically tailored to the situation, but of course, I don't really know each situation. For all I know, you might just be sort of sitting there, be like, I don't know, you know, my entire Christmas is a grand old time. But you know, I just suppose I want to say something in that regard. If anything, I suppose we should sort of get ready to start decorating our island again, because, of course, if you haven't been keeping up quite with Happy in Paradise, we're getting towards the end, I suppose, of how many different things we have to decorate in Happy Hour in Paradise. Since we've just done the hospital, we've got probably 5 more things to decorate, and that 5th final one would be the completion of Happy in Paradise, which we'll still do Happy in Paradise, I think, on the weekends. We're not just going to make it much of a... Like, I mean, already right now it's not something that's done on weekdays. We only do it on weekends, and I do it on days when I need to record something in advance, which I think is sort of the best way forward. Oh, you know what we should do? Perhaps we should update our portfolio now that you've all the things. There's no backlog of things that we haven't quite uploaded, so I can start uploading things I've done. So here we go: festival grounds, music producers' homes. We've actually done quite a lot. So let's go to our showroom, and let's try and figure out which ones exactly that I like the best that I want to put on display. And then we can sort of try and shimmy them around a bit, because I think this will make a nice final 5 minutes, I suppose, to our things. We're not going to look at other people's things. Apologies. We're going to look at our own profile and try and change what things we like here. It is our R&D department. How do we change these? X. No, that's color palette. Post edit. Remove this one. Yeah. Remove this one. Or replace it with something else. We could have just swapped it directly, but I'm going to remove the ones I don't particularly think are all that exciting. I kind of just don't like the picture of this one, so I'm going to remove a post of this one. I'm not sure exactly what I want to replace them with. Fawn Academy could certainly change. I don't think Fawn Academy is that great, but I really like quite a few of the ones I've done. Like Freya's one's quite nice. I think the Japanese garden is perhaps what we should definitely put down. I really like this Gladys one we did, and I think we might put Sky's one in. We might put some of the facilities down. I don't know. No, I don't really want to shout on social media. Any of these we could go. I'm not particularly like, wow, they're crazy good or anything. So let's have a look at facilities. Fawn Academy is quite nice. Survey Day I think is quite nice as well. Fantasia and the heart surgery. We could do it, but I think we'll put Survey Day down. I think that's quite nice. Not quite as nice as a cafe. I think the cafe is actually nicer, but that's just my own personal opinion. I mean, you know my creator code, you can go see whichever ones you particularly like better. But it's actually quite nice. I didn't realize how much nicer I liked it. I don't remember doing some of these, like, particularly. Like, I don't remember doing Starfield Sanctuary, but I'm sure it's very nice. Sweet Paradise. Refined Jap. I don't know why. Is this what I named it? Maybe. I honestly can't remember. Painting School is quite cute. It's not the greatest picture though, but I like the design, so we'll put Sky's thing here, and we'll. How much space do we got? I think we can replace. Let's replace the heart of the city because it's not the greatest picture in the world. I like the festival grounds. The music producers' home is actually quite a fun one as well. I suppose we should try and have a sort of rotating degree of things as we go out. So, you know what, why don't we just replace all these smaller ones? And then these ones are reserved for ones we think are really good. And it's going to be tough to get rid of those ones, I think. I guess we'll put a Pro Chef's Kitchen in. With much more of a hipster indie vibe. And a little slice of Fawn. I actually completely forgot we'd done this one. I didn't mean to start. No. Change property. We'll replace it with. I'm not sure. I mean, the Dream Country Ranch Home actually just looks. It's a very nice picture for what I didn't think was all that great a customization. So I think we'll roll with that one. Yeah, that's a sort of like nicely updated thing. Like, it's going to be difficult to beat Fantasia. Fantasia is really nice, I think. But some of these are just like better pictures. Not necessarily the designs are all much better. I'll say Survey Days, pictures, and the painting schools. Not the best photos involved, but I actually do really like those decorations. So yeah, that was a sort of nice update to our portfolio. Haven't done that for a while. But yeah, I suppose that will round off today's episode. I hope you all had a lovely sort of break, and, you know, we're getting back into sort of daily swing of Animal Crossing videos. I might record some other videos here and there, but, you know, I got a bit of a backlog to work with, so I'm not all too worried about that. But for now, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join me, Dear Darling Discord, follow me on Twitter down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now, and hope you had a lovely holiday.